embodied movement. I call it movement instead of dance. For me, it's a dance, but it's moving my body with permission to enjoy every drop of it, of every movement, of every sound, of every stretch, and just take up space. And it feels, it's therapy for me. It's a reminder to get into my body and to explore the senses, like literally. That brings me into my body in a way that my brain doesn't allow me to do. Like, it seems like it's very separate. The brain and what you should do and following the rules and getting through your day feels very different than taking up space and moving around and being like super juicy. And it's very empowering to me. Embodied movement is just moving according to what your body is asking you to do. It's, like what feels really good and doing that thing that feels really good, even if it doesn't make any sense and it's not part of the choreography, but you just really want to do the thing. So it doesn't have to look sensual at all. It's just movement, it's just flow. And so that can look different for everybody. I think for me, I purposefully choose music and clothes and, soft rugs that help me tap into that sensuality because that is what I desire to express, right? And I express myself in a very feminine way, as far as the soft, round, slow, organic, right? Whereas you go to a jazzercise class, or even a yoga class, most of the movements are back and forth or side to side or, along one plane. And that's more of a masculine way to move. But I really am fed by the feminine way to move. And that's not all the time. Sometimes I need to get out some fire and some, angst. And that might look completely different in my body and how I express myself. But, so it doesn't have to be sensual. And so that's part of what the evolution of teaching this has been. It's like, when I'm teaching, do I keep this generic and just embodiment? And that can look different in every single body. Or do I lean in to embodied, sensual, feminine, empowered, sexual, like I could add all of the, qualifiers to it, but it would be less universally appealing, maybe. I think everybody deep down wants to be able to express themselves in that way, but not everybody is ready to give themselves permission to do that. It's not always a fast arc for everyone because of whatever reason, because of how you were raised or... But for me, yes, I get very into my sensual body. I love celebrating that sexuality. When I was younger, it was more about attention, right? And getting attention from people, using my charisma to, to get attention, right? And to be seen, but in a different way, in a not so embodied way. But then life happened, and, it was safer to not be sensual, just like it seems like a state of being that is non-essential, if you're in a stressed out state and you're trying to put your head down and get things done, being sensual, feels over the top. It feels like something unnecessary, right? And so that was put aside for a long time. And then I woke up, I was 45, and went, oh yeah, I am still this is actually, and so I feel like it was always there. It just didn't have a way to express itself in an embodied, healthy way, instead of just being sensual for the sake of it filling you up and oozing out of you and inspiring others. That's the kind of sensuality that is so beautiful, and that's what I have seen in other people, and I hope that that's what I can convey, as opposed to being intimidating or over the top or too much or whatever judgment you want to put on it. Shameful, these are all other judgments, but for me, this movement and just my life in general, being sensual and tuning into my senses and surrounding myself with soft and warm and good, and that's what feels right in my universe. Being in a box doesn't feel like my ultimate goal in life. Maybe one way to express myself is to imagine what I would like to be doing in an intimate situation, or what I would like to invite in. You can use that as a tool for movement. And ideally also, it's not about somebody else and what they would do. It's permission to do with yourself what feels good. So there's two parts of it, especially for me. There is definitely a part of me that wants to play with other people and wants that energy and wants that interaction. But usually I have to fill myself up first and take care of what needs to happen in my internal environment and external environment before I have something to reach out with. It's taking care of this bubble first and filling that up. Through this movement, through this dance, through this freedom of sensual expression, is that, that can carry over into other aspects of your life. I do the dishes listening to music and move as I'm washing the dishes, and I'm enjoying it, or washing my hair and enjoying it instead of just getting it done. But you can also take that into intimate encounters. And if you are embodied and give yourself permission to move in a way that feels good and move with somebody else and help them to regulate their system to get into their pleasure and to understand your pleasure, and if giving myself permission to move this way during a dance has given me permission to move this way during intimacy as well. And yeah, which is not necessarily something that came easily, right? It was a learned, like, oh yeah, I do know what I like. I do know what I want. I can connect in this way. Yeah, which is not what we in modern popular society are taught. It's not a way we're taught to connect. But yeah, I think it can deepen a connection for sure. And me being able to move in that way gives my partner, a permission to move in the way they want to move too, It's like, builds on each other. We as animals feel energy. We feel other people's energy. We feel things that are icky and, have experiences that are icky, and shaking it off, moving in any kind of way, like be it masculine or feminine or sensual or slow or shaking it out, helps to shed that energy that isn't serving you. And tapping in and doing it in an embodied way and really asking your body what it wants to do instead of just moving to a routine, right? Here's what you do for if you're feeling rage, do these steps. I think that feels a lot different to me than if I'm feeling rage and I tap into how my body wants to express that. And it might look totally different, and it might look super soft, and it might not even look like pulling my hair and banging on the wall. It might be that I need soothing and tenderness, for whatever that big feeling that came up is. So having permission to express myself in that way in a studio and be seen by other people and be accepted and cheered on, like, oh wow, that was amazing. Like to hear that from other people gave me, confidence that I wasn't doing anything bad or wrong or whatever, right? And that I was actually getting rewarded for being me and being sensual and embracing, this kind of juicy embodiment. And luckily I had, women in my life that I'm like, what? I'll have what she's having, like that. She, again, like just moving with confidence, moving with shame. Shame is a huge, I think, thing to let go of for everyone, and yeah, if we're moving through life feeling shame, feeling something that was put onto us by somebody else, we didn't invent shame in ourselves. When we were little, we could do all the things, right? And not feel any shame. Somebody somewhere told you that is not the way that you're supposed to behave. And so to get rid of that is, like a huge permission slip to just move in the way that you want to move and be the way that you want to be. And sensuality might not, I think it does feed everybody. I think that we all have receptors and desires to feel sensuality and to feel sensuousness and to feel sensual. I think that we all could benefit from that. But I think some people are in such a state of just having to put their head down and get the things done. We got to do taxes. We got to drive carpool. We got to do whatever it is. And permission to be sensual within those confines seems a little extra. But for me, sensual energy, sexual energy is energy. That's like, people who study Tantra, like it's not separate, it is energy. It is, and so to cultivate that in your own body and in your own life is to cultivate energy in your body and your own life, and so it's feeding me to keep in touch with that. It's giving me more energy, and then I have energy to give, and it oozes out, and hopefully somebody says, I want what she's having. This kind of dance and movement and expression feeds me on a completely different level other than just the physical workout of it. Yeah, it has rippled out, reverbed out into my life and the lives of everybody around me, because I can't stay small anymore. I can do it if I have to. I just don't like it.